We've talked about Overwatch secrets and we've talked about the lore of the world, but Overwatch's main draw is its cool characters. Here's 5 surprising Overwatch origins that the game doesn't tell you. Number 1. Jack and Gabriel Super Soldiers. According to a fictional news report on the official Overwatch website, Jack Morrison was once a small-town kid from Indiana who signed up for the US military for what was just supposed to be a brief stint. But plans changed after he was swallowed up by the government's worst-kept secret at the time. That is, the Soldier Enhancement Program, which gave him super strength. Jack Morrison wasn't the only one involved in the program, though. We can guess from the name Soldier 76 that there were at least 75 others, but we know for sure that one of them was Gabriel Reyes, aka Reaper. Reaper was once Jack's commanding officer, and lost it when Jack was appointed to command in Overwatch ahead of him. In response, Reyes instituted a civil war within the organization, which subsequently tainted Overwatch's public image. Pair also kinda duked it out so hard that Overwatch HQ exploded. Oops. With the world thinking them dead, the two took very different identities. Soldier 76 is a callback to Jack's Captain America days, meanwhile Reaper modeled himself after his first OC from his 8th grade notebook sketches. Number 2, the futuristic Amelia Earhart, Tracer. As a member of Overwatch, one of Lena Tracer Oxton's earliest assignments was to test the experimental new teleportation aircraft called Slipstream. The craft successfully launched. The only problem was that nobody could find the Slipstream or Tracer afterwards. Months later, Tracer reappeared, but only for short bursts of time. Her molecules had suffered a chronal dissociation in her time away, which meant that she couldn't stay in the present for much longer than a few days, or even a few hours. Eventually, Winston, everyone's favorite super-intelligent gorilla from the moon, was able to craft Tracer a chronal accelerator that allows Tracer to have complete control over her time stream, or at least for up to 3 seconds at a time until Blizzard's next balance patch. Tracer continued to use her powers with and without Overwatch for the next 20 years, which goes to explain how decades have passed and she's one of the few characters who's barely aged at all. Number 3, the bodybuilding robot racist Zarya. Overwatch was founded in response to what the lore calls the Omnic Crisis, which was your sort of standard fare robot uprising. This violent crisis requested a violent response, and Overwatch was formed. The ragtag crew of colorful heroes was eventually victorious, but there was a lot of collateral damage in the process. This included the whole town that Alexandra Zaryanova was born in. Though she was but a young girl, she vowed to help her people rise from the ashes. And part of her plan, it would seem, was becoming a world-class bodybuilder. She was even on track to break global records and take home the world championship, but sadly that didn't work out. Her village was attacked again, and she had to drop out of the tournament to turn in the barbells for a laser grenade launcher. As you could expect, giving up your dreams to deal with some cyber bullies who tore apart your hometown twice might make you a little bit bitter. And as evidenced by her interactions with Zenyatta, she's bitter as hell. She harbors an aggressive distrust of even the peaceful Omnics. It's a trait she shares with Overwatch's co-founder Torbjorn. They might technically be on the side of justice, but that doesn't mean they're perfect. Number 4, Roadhog and Junkrat in the Australian Apocalypse. The Australian outback is a violent, vicious hellscape full of trials and ruin. Oh, and it is in Overwatch too. You see, after the Omnic Crisis, the world was left with a bunch of displaced toaster people that they needed to dump off somewhere. And apparently digging through history textbooks for a solution, they rounded them up and dumped them off in Australia. This happened to be the home of one Mako Roadhog Rutledge, and other unsavory characters who were none too happy about the move. They banded together to form the Australian Liberation Front, which really just meant that they were trying to kill all the robots. And they kind of succeeded too, detonating the Omnic's fusion reactor and blowing the outback to high hell. The result was a full-on Mad Max nuclear wasteland, where those who survived had to adapt to a hardened, violent, ramshackle society. This is where Roadhog met Junkrat, and the two immediately bonded over being just despicable. And number 5, The Woeful Tale of Widowmaker. Of all the characters in Overwatch, the story of Amélie Lacroix, aka Widowmaker, may be the saddest. That's because when Overwatch was founded, she was quite literally a different person. In her former life, Amélie was married to an Overwatch agent named Gerard, who led operations against the mercenary group Talon. The baddies repeatedly tried to do away with Gerard to no success, so they decided to change up their tactics. They kidnapped Amélie, destroyed her mind, and replaced it with a new, bloodthirsty personality. Amélie was effectively dead, and soon her husband was actually dead. As Widowmaker, Amélie was able to get close to her husband to finish Talon's job. Afterwards, she disappeared, returning to Talon for more mental mutilation. They crammed her brain full of more murder training, slowed her heartbeat to a crawl, turning her skin blue and depriving her of emotion. Overwatch was completely unaware of this transformation, knowing only Amélie to be missing. When Amélie made her blockbuster debut as Widowmaker in the waning days of Overwatch's influence, she quickly snuffed out several Overwatch agents before catching the attention of Overwatch co-founder Ana Amari. Amari got the drop on Widowmaker, but was unable to finish the job when she realized it was Amélie. Amari lost an eye, but luckily she didn't wind up in the ground, and Widowmaker got away. With more characters on the way and new information about the game all the time, we hope to see the reveal of more origin stories yet. Or, like, legitimately, you could just give me a 2-hour documentary about the best character, Ganymede. I mean, look at him. Come on. He's great.